episode of Life Unfiltered.
Hello guys.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm good. Nothing much except for the weather conditions that we've been having, I guess. Nothing much to complain about. How have you been?
I've been okay, I guess. Just been, taking it one day at a time. I've been on study leave for the past week, so it was not as stressful as work, but studies can also be stressful at times. And how is it going with your studies?
Talking about studies. Like now of all times, I've never been so nervous about an exam.
Why?
I don't know. Remember I told you about that political science module thingy? Yeah,
Is it showing you flames?
Not really. I guess maybe I just didn't give myself enough time to study it. Also because it's boring. I don't find it really interesting, and I guess it's not relevant to my whole course.
So it's one of those side courses, right? I told you that I did IT, but in my IT diploma, I also had to do like accounting and business management.
Yes.
For what? I don't know.
Also for me, I'm doing communications, but I also did the end user computer one. I don't know why.
That one may be kind of relevant because you need computer skills for you to work in that field. So that one I can maybe speak to or vouch for that. Yeah, it's actually relevant that you have basic computer skills for you to get by in that field, because you will need to do some editing, a lot of things in that field. So yeah, I think it's necessary.
But do you really think I need things like JavaScript and all that in communications?
No. Are you doing JavaScript?
It was there.
Yeah. That you don't need. JavaScript is basically for programming. I do a lot of JavaScript in my space because I use tags like React and Node.js. So those are like JavaScript frameworks and stuff,
Yeah, so
but and communication doing JavaScript, that's a bit extreme. But
yeah, it's a bit extreme. I feel like it's an in-depth skill that I don't need
it's unnecessary.
In that field. Yeah, so I guess almost every qualification has that office module that I have to
just
do
like me. I've never used
point.
accounting to this day in my life, and I did it back in 2015. But I've never used accounting to this day. So
did it show you flames though?
It did, because I got 50% on that dot. So I was doing the bare minimum. I was just doing the list so that I could pass it and just move on with my life. So yeah, man, it happens.
With the one that I'm also having an examination tomorrow, so
Are you ready?
Wish me luck. I wouldn't say I'm ready. I'll just go in there and maybe.
So we need to wrap this up so we can go study then. Have you studied enough?
I think I have. Like with things that I've studied, I think it's enough. If not, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah. What's on your mind this week, or what was the highlight of the week?
For me, funny enough, my highlight was basically catching up on our last week's podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I really did enjoy it, and then. Later on, when I was refreshing, I also caught up with the Gogos Koteni one. There's something that was trending.
I did watch a bit of that. It's just that, I haven't finished it, but I'm gonna catch up with it.
It's kind of like almost 2 hours.
2 hours, because I think I left it at the part whereby they were talking about the reality show and why she wanted to do this two husbands thing and saying that she regrets it and stuff like that. That's why I left it at this morning. So I'm gonna continue maybe later on if I have the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so any low lights?
The low lights has to be preparing for exams. I'm tired, guys. If it was in my favor, I would just pay someone to do it, honestly. Like I don't have the energy to do that. And I'm like, how many? 3 more examinations to go. So
fucking hell, guys. And does UNISA still they still have that have that iris application that monitors you, no?
Yes, but with the one that I'm using currently, it's the Invigilator app thing. So it's like kind of more different to that one. This current one, you know what it does, ne?
Mm.
Randomly, it just asks you to take selfies. Take where your script or where you're typing your exam and things like that. So, yeah.
Speaking of that, do you think it's enough to gauge or to tell whether someone is cheating on the exam or not, or you can bypass that thing?
It's not enough because someone can literally sit in for the exam for me, and then me by the side, and when it requires a selfie, I just take a selfie and then they continue. Simple as that.
Or what you can do as well, if you are sitting against the wall, right, you can literally have your notes there, your written notes, and you can randomly look at those notes as you write.
Even worse, you know what, or how we use it, like it doesn't monitor me like that, like throughout the examination.
So it just takes snapshots.
You just have to put your phone right beside you and write, and then it bips. When it bips, you check.
And then you take a selfie.
Yeah, it may tell you take a selfie or take your script or your laptop or whatever.
Because the one that I use, right, that one is quite strict. I don't know, it doesn't also record a video, but what it does is that you see this laptop, right? Mm-hmm. You can't connect an extra monitor because they know that you might have your script notes there. Mm-hmm. And you also can't, you have to share your screen. Yeah. So it says whatever you're doing, you can't open other tabs. And then it also, you need to keep your camera on. So it takes snapshots randomly during the exam. So that one is a little bit more effective, I would like to think.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, man, from my side, yeah, like I said, sorry guys. That was a burp, nice burp. Yeah, exams, study leave in the past week. I'm going back to work tomorrow. I need to do a lot of catching up this week. And yeah, man, I also did a little bit of traveling. I went home.
How was home?
Home was good, even though I didn't stay for that long, because I went on Thursday morning, and then I came back on Saturday afternoon. So it was like in and out. So, but yeah, it was nice and refreshing, because the last time I went home was back during the Easter holidays in April. So it had been a minute. I think it was a much needed visit to go and see the parents and all of that. Yeah. Just get some energy, man. I think I was running low, and going home did help a little bit. But that's not why we're here today. We have some very, very interesting topic or subject that we'd like to talk about. I think I'll allow you to introduce it, and then I think I'll jump in and start adding more juice.
So today, guys, we're going to be dissecting religion, spirituality, and everything in between. Reflecting to the current world, I think these two concepts are making people even more lost rather than aligning them. I don't know if it makes sense, but that is exactly what we're going to be talking about. And for me, let me start by actually maybe defining what it is. So for me, I think religion is, obviously there are two different things, right?
Yeah, religion and spirituality are two different.
Yeah, so for me, religion, I think it's let me call it a system of worshipping maybe the higher power, and spirituality, let me say it's basically I don't know how to put it. It's there in my head, but I'm failing to articulate it.
Let me help you. I do have a dictionary answer here. This one is from ChatGPT. I'm not that smart, guys, so I'll be reading this off the results I got from ChatGPT.
Okay, cool.
So religion, according to ChatGPT. Or do you want to read it for us? Let me actually give you the honors to read it for us.
Okay, so according to ChatGPT, religion is a structured and organized system of beliefs, practices, and rituals that often involve the worship of deities or a higher power. It typically has a specific set of doctrines, a religious community, and established institutions. So, on the other hand, spirituality is a more personal and individualistic approach to one's connection with the transcendent, higher power, or the sacred. It may or may not be affiliated with a particular religious tradition, and often focuses on personal growth, self-awareness, and inner experiences.
So from that, what do you understand about the two? I'll give you a short answer to that, right? When you are religious, you believe in one specific thing and one specific thing. For example, if you believe in God or Christianity, you're a Christian and then that's it. If you are spiritual, I think you are more open-minded to certain things. Like you don't just believe in one thing and that one thing only. You are kind of like open-minded. Like I'll put it to you like this: I definitely believe in the higher power, right? Like that there is God somehow. That's why we all here and this whole thing exists.
Yes.
The whole universe thing. Though some people may argue that it's very much open for discussion. Some may say there's no God, it's just science and all of that. But I also do believe in the higher power. At the very same time, I'm very open-minded as well. I'm always willing to explore other options. So from my side, I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I'm spiritual. On your side, are you religious or spiritual?
I think I'm both. If
No,
it
you
makes
can't
sense.
be both.
But okay, you're saying that spirituality, you're like more of open-minded, right?
Yeah, you don't just believe in one thing only and one thing only. Like, I think, okay, this is a better example, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyway.
Okay.
When you are religious, you are a straight person. You are what is this English? Heterosexual, right? And when you are spiritual rather, you are more like open to options. More like you swing both ways. You're bisexual in religion and in those spirituality. For example, I'll give you an example now. I do believe in prayer a lot. Though it's all in the head, we'll get to that as well. That when you pray, you feel better because you feel like you've done something right. You've spoken to God. You've really kind of like casted all your burdens to the higher power, and then now all of a sudden you feel better because you feel like something's going to happen, right? But that might just be in your head, but we'll get to that. So when I say I'm spiritual, right? Let's say now I'm sick, né? And then maybe I go to hospital. The hospitals can't seem to detect what's wrong with me. We go to the church and then they can't seem to detect what is wrong with me and stuff like that. And then other options are there to explore, to see maybe a traditional healer. Maybe someone who is totally different from the Christianity stuff or like that. People that are religious, for example, like a traditional churchgoer, they'll probably die without exploring other options because they'll just say, God will heal me, God will heal me. But for someone like me, I'm very much open to exploring other options if I can get help. So in your case, where do you fall under?
Okay, I think now that you've explained it further, I get a better sense of it. So, I think I'm also spiritual because I think this year I've got to learn spirituality like on another level.
Through like a first-hand experience?
Yeah, I may say that. Because at home I'm staying with someone who is kind of very spiritual, and then for my kind of what can I say? You know, when you go to church, like basing on the example that you gave me, at hospital they can maybe say this, but then you can still have another option of getting help elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
So with me, with life experiences and life obstacles and things like that, I think I got to a point where I was like, no man, how about I try something else? You know, because back then I was someone who would just maybe focus on prayer, but I got to a point where I was like, no man, let me just try something else, because at the end of the day, it's not like it's the same as offering worship to a higher power, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So why are you not at church today? By the way, today it's Sunday, guys. Like I normally say, we shoot this on a Sunday, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, doesn't matter. And then we upload later on, or we do the editing during the week, and then we upload on a Friday. We premiere on Friday at 5 p.m. So why are you not at church today?
I stopped going to church at some point in my life.
What happened?
One of the reasons was financial purposes, because nowadays churches do all of this. Not that it's a bad thing; it's a good thing. They'll make what do you call them? Fundraising events. They'll do trips. They'll do like all these other unnecessary things that require finances. And when you don't put out as much money, you like people in the church tend to look at you as like some sort of rebellious person, or you're always on your side and things like that. So for me, I kind of like felt offish about it, so I stopped going to church.
How
And
long?
also
Yeah.
and also it was a thing of, like I said, that this year I got to learn more about spirituality and things like that. I started questioning the Bible.
Do you now doubt or question, or did you lack a little bit of faith since you explored another side of things? Do you have more questions than answers about the Bible?
I think I have more questions than answers to the Bible, because now, looking back, as time goes, you discover journals, books, and things like that. Also, science.
Yeah.
You get to read and all of those things. So now, when you look at it, a Bible, right? I think almost everything that's written in the Bible is based on the lives and the norms that were captured by people back then in history, right? So if it was based on the beliefs and the norms and the style of living that people were experiencing and taking note back then, why not refer to our current life?
It's a tough one, that one. I was going to come to that as well, because there's a lot of gaps in the Bible whereby we don't really have answers. And then another thing is that, who wrote the Bible?
Exactly.
Yeah, where were they standing? You'll find cases in the Bible whereby it was God sitting alone talking to himself. Who had him then?
Who had him?
And
many people will say, or like the stuff that is written in the Bible, it was written in rocks. Have you seen how big the Bible is?
Yeah, it's quite big. It's quite big. And then remember, there are different versions of the Bible, but apart from that, there are two different testaments. There's the Old Testament and the New Testament. You always wonder. And then another thing is that it was written back then, and then that was it. Why don't we have an update of the Bible?
Exactly.
Yeah, you see, I don't know much about how long ago it was written, but we should have some form of update, because a lot has happened after that, right? Yeah, so it gets very tricky when you get there. So speaking of churches, right? Like I said, I'm a firm believer in God. There are certain situations where things didn't make sense. To this day, I still feel like God got me through those situations. I've seen God's work in my life. The problem that I'm having, though, I think our churches or pastors, they are kind of abusing the power that they've been given, or the calling, if it's a calling at all, because now you've got fake pastors and all of that. And I've spoken to a couple of people, even like a white friend of mine. He highlighted the same fact that you highlighted, that church has now become more about money, more than anything else, more than worshiping and praising the Lord and stuff like that. They kind of like monetize this business. And another thing you must know about churches, right? They don't pay tax. Like any normal business in South Africa, when you are operating as a business, you need to pay tax.
Exactly.
So churches don't pay tax at all, and they do collect money through tithes, offerings, sponsorships or whatever, but they don't pay tax. So maybe, this might sound funny, but at some point when I was exploring my my options, I've once thought about being a pastor. I mean, it might
You're
be an easy way
lying.
out. But you know what I wanted to do as a pastor? Ne?
Uh-huh.
I wanted to go to a completely different place where I'm not known. Like maybe go to Eastern Cape or something,
Yeah.
and even change my
Like
name.
what most of these pastors from overseas do.
Yeah, like Bursaries,
Yeah.
just to, you know,
Name a few.
I mean, it's the only guy I can think of, right? And a whole lot more, also and all of that. Because I think as South Africans, nah, we're so much gullible that we've gotten into the habit of believing more in miracles than the actual, praising of the Lord. To basically be normal Christians, we believe more in miracles, one quick stuff, and that's why those foreign pastors, that's why it makes it easier for them to come and manipulate us, because they know that South Africans are very gullible. For example, I mean, who would eat grass, drink petrol, and stand there to be sprayed by some insecticide, whatever. Like, I just feel like South Africans are too naive, man. Like, why don't we? I think we don't apply a lot of logic when it comes to religion. That's why I'm not religious. I'm more spiritual. And one thing you're gonna fight with Christians about is that if you can start, criticizing their religion, and you won't get
You're
along.
off the.
Not even all Christians are gonna like us for this episode.
Yeah.
So we might get a little bit of a backlash. But guys, these are facts, man. We're not attacking anyone, but we're just trying to unpack this whole thing and see if it really makes sense to everybody. Because, guys, some things not made sure, eh?
I also think a lot of Bushiri followers were humbled when all that saga happened. Did you see?
A lot of things were revealed, and they've been
Yes.
in denial for too long. And then, I know people that have actually lost friends by criticizing Bushiri fan, like Bushiri. Like, let's say you are a Bushiri fan, and then I talk bad about Bushiri. There are people that actually cut off friends because of that. But I feel like, why do that though? It's not like Bushiri is your
And
father or something.
why be that loyal to start with?
Yeah, to someone you don't even know that guy. I always say, if that guy was that good, why is he not a prophet in his own country? Why go to a
Exactly.
foreign country to perform miracles, whereby at home there's a lot more need for you to perform miracles? Because I mean, and not to talk bad about Malawi or something, but Malawi is slightly underdeveloped than SA, right? So I feel like if there's any miracles to perform there, why not perform to those miracles to better the economy, to empower the people to be better people so that they can boost the economy? And then what I used to like about that guy, and the red flags that people didn't see, whenever he wanted to give back, he wasn't giving back here. He went back home to buy like food parcels, donate and stuff like that. And the biggest scam ever that happened with Bushiri was the fact that, remember, his services were taking place here at the Pretoria Showgrounds, right? There was a time I was literally staying opposite the showgrounds. So I could hear the noise every Sunday, but I did not go.
Not even once.
I used to go at some point, and then I got smarter and my eyes opened. I'm like, something is not make sure. And then when I used to go to Bushiri, I was staying in Benoni at the time. I used to drive from Benoni to Pretoria. So when I moved to Pretoria, my eyes were already open. So I stopped going. But what I wanted to say was that, like with churches, they always do this thing of building funds where you need to contribute to building funds. So I got people to contribute towards the building fund, and I told the congregants or the church members, sorry guys, I think it's this thing that I'm drinking, this orange juice. Yeah. So church members were contributing like huge amounts of money, like hundreds of thousands, like sending through proof of payments. So he went and found a place where they were doing some construction in Midrand. He said he had bought some land in Midrand and they were building. So he posted like these excavators, TLBs, trying to clean up that land inside the project that started. To this day, we don't know what happened to that project. And from the look of things, there was no land in Midrand that was there. So people were scammed, basically. And not a lot of people will admit to that or will have the courage to say, you know what, we were scammed. But I'm actually I've got more respect for people that actually realize, you know what, how that guy played us. But there are people to this day, they're still very in denial to say, no, hi, it's legit. There was just a misunderstanding. What misunderstanding?
Some of them, until today, they still have those bands. Remember those bands?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Come to think, that I even on my car at the time, I had a sticker. Yeah, a Bursaries sticker. But when he walked up the building at the Pretoria Showgrounds, he had bodyguards.
Why didn't he use his own stickers?
Yeah, to protect him. Yeah, it was more of business, nah? And you know what they make you do to show that it's a business? They sell a lot of merch.
Yes.
Like anointing oils, those wristbands, stickers, t-shirts and stuff like that.
T-shirts, yes.
So you know what the trick is, or the mandate is, when you go up there to give like a testimony. You can't just give a testimony. When you give a testimony, you need to reference some of those products to say, I became better, I was sick, and then I bought the anointing oil.
Yes, and that's publicity and marketing.
You're basically giving free advertising to them. That's why I started not being a very big fan of church at that time. I do go to church, no offense, nothing against the church institution, but I just feel like some churches are exploiting people and their kindness to their benefit, which is what really sucks. That's why I also don't go to church. We do go to church sometimes, but I've decided not to participate in the financial stuff. You know, like when they talk about money, I zone out.
Same here.
I zone out, bruh. Like,
Same here.
we've got a church here down the road. You see there by the corner where there's a white tent. First time I went there, early this year, I think it was around March. That guy was talking about
with the
money.
idea of going to church? Was it you?
It wasn't really me. I remember on Lulu's birthday last year, no?
Yes.
Mommy encouraged us to go to church so that Lulu can grow up in church and stuff like that. So we're actually doing it for the little one because we are already open-minded. We know what church is all about. So when I go to church, I do the offering, maybe 10 rand, 20 rand if they are lucky. But the 10% thing, the tithe thing, I don't have that money, guys. Yeah. Imagine minusing 10% out of the money I make every month. Yo, it's a lot. So first time I went there, the guy was talking about money, building fund. There's like a pile of bricks outside the church, right? I think they want to build or something, but there's still a lot more money needed to build the church. It's not just pop and place. Eh? I know they have the land and stuff like that, but the guy was really on about the money subject. Né? I think he threw me off the same day, but I kept going still. But we haven't been to church in a couple of months simply because it was cold. Now it's slightly getting warmer. I think we will go back. It is also refreshing somehow to hear the word of God. But now, when the money subject kicks in, things just...
it becomes weird.
Yeah, they just throw me off. I don't know if now what to think anymore about the church institution itself. Eh? And, okay, I think I'm going to let you go first, and then there's something I want to touch on also that will simplify our lives as congregants, because I feel like we're taking a lot of financial strain on behalf of the church owners. But you go, and then before you lose your thought, and then I'll come back. Okay.
So what I wanted to say is that the problem with, let me say, especially we South African citizens, is that the first thing that we were supposed to be taught is exactly what religion is, because now we've shifted from the term religion, and now we're shifting to miracles, like you said, instant breakthroughs and things like that, forgetting that we all have different faiths, we all have different grace, we don't have the same ancestors and things like that. So now when we go to church, most of us want like instant breakthroughs, instant answers and things like that.
Yeah, we just want things to happen just like that.
I think that is the exact reason why these foreign pastors pick up from us.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of that. Like I said, South Africans are very gullible. Like it's very easy to manipulate a South African to think that they'll get their instant miracles and all of that.
Yes.
Which is, it's bullshit, man. It doesn't work like that.
Forgetting that in religion, I think pastors are not there to give us breakthrough, to be honest. I think pastors are there to align us properly.
They were sent to come and minister the word of God.
Yes.
Yeah, not to perform miracles.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what we're getting wrong.
And another thing, I think between 2015 and now, there was a really I'd call it a surge in the number of prophets that were appearing, man. Everyone was starting to call themselves prophet and stuff like that, which I found it very weird. Everyone now can see things. I remember Buhiri used to tell people about things in their fridges. I can see an onion there. I say half tomato there. Yeah. Can I go deeper? What the fuck is this? What does that have to do with anything?
And one thing for sure is that some of them were just agreeing, because remember, in that moment in time, you're in shock that Bushiri called me in front of these 1,000 people.
During the people.
Yeah, it's like your mind now is kind of like twisted. You don't know what to agree and what not to agree and things like that.
So it's a mind fuck. And by the way, this is not to attack Bushiri, but I mean, it's a best example we can use. Yeah, we've got nothing against you, my guy.
Also, what's dodgy about him again is that after he left and things like that, there were a lot of voice notes of people like putting out his laundry, saying that no, he tipped me off, he was paying us.
I heard a lot of that thing about
like that.
Yeah,
there was so many.
There was just a lot about that guy. Something was off. I always had my suspicions, though I didn't want to be blatant about it. You know what the fucked up thing is, nah? I always trust my intuition, like you always say. I didn't trust the guy at first, and then I think someone convinced me to like him, and then I started exploring, going to church, seeing stuff. I kind of like got hooked for a bit. And then at some point my logic kicked in. I'm like, no man, this is not fair. And there was this thing that also his members normalized, whereby to have a one-on-one with him, you have to pay like 7,000. They book your hotel, and then you sleep there, and then the next morning you go. Like, I was like, how crazy is this? People agree to pay so much money just to see someone, and sometimes you wouldn't even like see him face to face, like one-on-one. You would just see you guys as a group, but paying 7,000 just to see someone.
Like, how holy is he? I mean, to pay.
Another thing that I'm against when it comes to church, right? I don't believe anyone should be called man of God. I'm also a man of God. Why did you give someone so much power, man of God? I am also a man of God. So what I was coming to earlier before I let you go, I was saying that, guys, this might come out wrong. I'm so sorry, but I feel like our pastors should have jobs, guys. This church thing, I'm not saying it should be a side hustle, but at least have a job. You can't use church or ministering as your main source of income. That's what I think where most of the greed comes from. Because now, let's say you want to have a nice house and a nice car. So it means all that lifestyle need to be funded by the church members. But if there's a job there as a teacher maybe or whatever, he can finance his own life. And then the church life now is just like an add-on on top of his life. Because now, imagine a pastor that has kids that are in university. That means that the church members, through the tithe money, offering and all of that, we are basically looking after him from end to end. I just feel like it's a little bit unfair. And you know what people piss me off with when it comes to this whole Christianity thing, is that they would rather give their last money and not have any bread at home, but you gave at church, thinking that when they try and manipulate you, they say that the more you give is the more you receive and all of that. I just feel like if my mom doesn't have electricity now and I've got my last 100 rand, I can't go give that 100 rand at church and not buy electricity for my mom. It just doesn't make sense, you see. So, not that we've spoken enough about churches, but there's also a lot of bad practices that happen in the twassering space. I'll give you an example. There's been shows on TV like on Much Aloud, you know what the Kobela is, right? Yeah. Nama Twasa, Nama Del. What do they call Twasan in that thingy? Well, the Twassering students. A Kobela is like
candidates.
Yeah, the candidates. The Kobela is the
the tutor, I don't know.
The higher one.
Yeah.
So if you come twassering to me, I'm your Kobela, so it means I'm the one that's the trainer, basically. So there's a lot of female twasserists that have complained about their Kobelas violating them, even sexually. So have you heard about that?
Yes, I've heard about that. I also came across the podcasting that Lebo Kile has.
Yeah, I know, Lebo Kile Mabucha.
Yes.
Yeah, I know
Yes.
it.
There's this one girl who had a whole episode about that, explaining that when she went through initiation, like there was incidents of rape and all that in there, which is really sad.
So, but then, how easy is it for them to come out and say my gorilla raped me or he sexually violated me? Like, how easy is it for them, or don't they have enough evidence to quantify that or to support their cases?
I think basing on that, on what she said, I just forgot her name. When I remember it, I'll just say it out.
Mm.
Basing on what she said, because it realistically asked the very same question that you're asking.
Mm.
So her answer was that when you're in that space, right, it's as if you are taught the highest level of respect to your seniors, your gobelas, and all that. So in a sense of you don't backchat them, you don't question them.
So you can't stand up for yourself,
Yes.
even when they are wrong.
Like in that sense, that's basically what you were saying. Because
That's bullshit, though.
yeah, that's really crap. So she explained it that way, and then further said that when you're like told that when you speak you have to bow your head, you don't look your gabella in the eye and things like you can actually understand the level of respect that they're taught.
It's actually imposed.
So she was kind of, what she said is that she was kind of, it was almost impossible to say it out, but the fact that the reason why she said she went on to say it out after is because like her guilt was fighting her, like her conscience wouldn't let her rest about the whole thing because it's trauma.
So, but now, did it happen once or it happened repeatedly?
No, she said it multiple times, if I'm not wrong. Yes, and mind you, for her it was like the first time.
And you must remember, some of these, what do you call them? The candidates, the Bursaries. I call them Bursaries. They have husbands when they go to this initiation. Because remember, it's a calling. A calling can come at any time, whether you are married, you are maybe
at any age.
At any age, exactly. So, I mean, you are married now, your governor is busy violating you sexually. What do you now go say back to your husband to say? Do you even have the courage to say that back to your husband, to say, I was violated by my governor and all of that? And I think, I don't know how it happens, but apparently when these things happen, they kind of like get you, like hypnotize you in a way that you are not yourself when all of these things are happening.
Yourself, yes.
Yeah, like, why do that though? You see, it's not only Christianity that has a bad side, even the African religion side has its bad side, but it also has its good side. So, but I think that's the red flag that I picked up in those things, that I just feel, how can people be violated like this and then the perpetrators don't face any form of like consequences?
Yeah, and it's sad because after that, because in that moment you almost can't report or say it out, and then after sometimes there's definitely no proof to say actually this is what happened. And also my question when it comes to that is that when you are there to train, right? They say that you have to be sacred, like you have to be clean, your soul have to be clean, so meaning you can't partake in sexual activities
At all.
So for them, the gobelas themselves,
why are they doing that?
Exactly.
So you see, it's a mind fuck.
What's the point?
Yeah, it's a mind fuck, exactly. It's like this thing, beliefs can be tricky in the African religions when they say that when a baby is still very, very young, at like less than a month old, if there's a baby in the house, if you've really engaged in sexual activities, you can't come anywhere near the baby. But let's say the nurse that actually gave help give birth to the baby, what if she slept with her husband the previous day?
Exactly.
So I think it's all in the head.
It's all in the head, yes.
What I can tell you about things that I had that they work and with traditions and the African spirituality and all of that. There are certain like STIs. For example, let's say I happen to sleep with someone who just recently got an abortion, right? I'll probably get very sick, right? And when that happens, there's no Western medication that can actually cure that kind of illness.
Yes.
You need to go through the African way, whereby they cook something for you and they need whatever, the underwear of that chick that you slept with, they need to boil it with some water. You need to drink that water.
Does it get there?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and then that's where you will actually be
Healed.
cured or healed.
Yeah.
Not sure if it works. So I'm also wondering, what if the same thing happens to a white or an Indian guy? Do they also go through the same process? Because apparently there's no Western medication that can cure that stuff. Or it's also all in the head. Because it can be a mind fuck. Nah. You don't know about this? First time hearing about this?
No, I know that.
The philology is one guys. It's changan very good. Really, you can't go to a doctor. You will fucking die. You need to go
the African route.
Yeah, and if you don't get attention quick, nah, you might die within very fast.
But my question is, why isn't there something scientific that's able to cure that? I mean,
yeah, why not die yet, eh? I think we need to do a little bit of research. Maybe you and I have a little bit of a homework to go and do to say what actually can cure this. Because I know, like, with normal STIs, like the drop on it, you can get antibiotics. They can actually clean you and then you'll be fine. But who lied something else? That it's at another level of.
And also, it's changan bako makome.
I know makome, whereby if maybe a family member, a very close family member has passed away, you can't be sleeping around so soon. And then if anything happens, and then if you do that, and then you'll get very sick, and then you will need some traditional attention.
So my question, does it mean if someone, isn't it there are people who will say, I'm not spiritual. So if you're not spiritual and then you go and do exactly that, does it mean that ungebi namakumi?
It also comes back to belief as well. Like, if you don't believe in something, does it happen to you now? Like, exactly that. If you don't believe in something and then you go ahead and do that, does it? Like Christians, they don't believe in that. It's like with the unveilings, nah? I agree, there'll be a funeral and then a year later they'll do unveilings. You know that, like, real Christians don't believe in unveilings. That's why most of them, they don't even attend unveilings, because they say that when you do unveilings and then you do all of that, you kind of like, you are worshipping the dead. And then in the Bible, they said you mustn't serve any foreign gods or idols and stuff like that. So it's actually deeper than this. So I think this topic can actually go on for hours.
Yeah.
But it's all about what we believe in as black people or as Africans and all of that. But you know what kills me about Christians, right? They ignore all the traditional stuff. They disregard them, except for Lobola, because it involves money. Why don't they disregard Lobola as well? We don't believe in Lobola. The people who just do a wide wedding.
That's an African thing.
Yeah, it's an
right?
African thing. Apparently, there's when I watch TV, when they talk about Lobola, I see a term that comes up a lot called dowry. And me growing up, we thought that Lobola is like bride price. And dowry is something else, actually. It's not even a black thing, but I think it's the closest term that they can find that, aligns with the Lobola thing. This other white friend of mine, I don't know if he was joking or what, he said that, so when you guys pay Lobola, does that mean you're buying the girl? Are we buying the girl?
No, you're not.
What are you doing? But we're paying money.
Oh, wow.
But he was right. It's a valid question. Are we buying the girl?
So I think I came across this other post on TikTok, right? So this girl was explaining that at home, like their kids, how many kids? I think she said 3. They're all girls. So she said her dad said that he's not going to allow anything more than 15,000 for Lobola. And she said, why? And then he said that, you know what, I don't want it to look as if I'm selling you guys. She also said that her dad is very, what's the word? Like, he's very African, right? So he said that, Lobola, it's not unlike the modern days. Lobola back then used to be a thing where you formalize a relationship. You take that family and that family.
So about connecting families, basically.
Yes. So there must be an exchange of something. Yeah. Right. So for me, somehow it made sense. It really did.
Yeah, but Lobola now has gotten expensive, eh?
Very.
Yeah.
Very, because now they they kind of look, they kind of value me and put me there like I'm at an auction to say, no, she has degrees, she doesn't have a child.
Yeah, she's educated, all that.
Yeah.
Like with the Lysion scheme, some
Exactly.
price came up to like 144,000 because they wanted like 12 cows, and then each cow is like 11,000, 11 or 12,000. I can't remember. 12 times 12, yeah, something like that. Guys, it's on a Sunday. My maths goes on a holiday on Sunday. So yeah, just Lobola just got increased. I saw this funny meme about Lobola whereby this is how we're gonna calculate Lobola going forward. So if they say you're worth 80,000, we divide that 80,000 by the number of guys you've slept with. So if you've slept with 10 guys,
how are they gonna know?
I don't know. And then 80 divided by 10, 8,000. And then that 8,000, if you have kids, we divide that 8,000 by the number of kids. And then you are left with like 1,000 something. That's how much you are worth. Yeah, but hey, that's a tough one to tell. I mean, how do you tell someone's body count? What I know about women is that they always lie about their body count. They'll say, if you ask any lady, how many guys have you slept with? It's always you, the previous one, and the previous one. It's always 3. Yeah. So I feel like it's unnecessary to go to ask that question. Do you know Kanye? Is the name? Is it Kanye Berry or something? Duck Berry, man. Duck Berry from TikTok. She's also like in that Colin Fag and one type of thing. Yeah. Once a video, she was like, this other thing of asking about people's body counts is useless. I think when I figured out is like and keep it moving, because you will never hear the real truth about the body count.
Obviously, imagine if someone's body count is like 18. It's not. It's weird to say it out loud. To say, hey, it's 18. Hey.
There are people's body counts that are over 100.
Yo, that's bad. So also talking about body counts, what's your sentiments when it comes to spiritual ties?
Yeah, one other one. No? I'm still. I want someone to quantify it. Still, whereby they say sex is not just sex. It's got a lot of spiritual ties to it. When you sleep with someone, even if you're using protection, you still somehow exchange energies. And apparently, what is twirling in English? Can
I don't know.
Yeah, but twirling, guys, let's call it twirling. Yeah, where like umuntu twirl, like someone who's actually.
But there's a word, I just forgot it.
Yeah, guys, English. It's on a Sunday. English is not make sure today, but yeah, there are people that are twirling, like let's say someone has a snake and stuff like that. No? They actually get their superpowers from sleeping with a lot of people. They exchange those energies and then they give their bad luck to you, and then they take your luck. And then you find that you're busy maybe looking for a job or looking for a stable relationship. You're not getting in because you slept with the wrong people. But the thing is, you can't really quantify that unless you go to a Koko Maweni that will over you and actually tell you what exactly is going on with you. But I do partly believe that it happens because people out there are carrying some very, very bad spirits. And you find that, as much as I say I don't believe in luck, but I believe in blessings, and actually the fact that someone can actually take away your blessings if you exchange the wrong energies. So the term does exist, but to be honest, I don't have enough evidence to actually put a stamp on it to say it actually is true. But there is some element of truth in it. There's no way you can be going around sleeping with like people, different energies from different backgrounds, and still expect your stuff to go exactly the same way. Yeah, and you must remember, I think one thing to as well on Menchi's podcast, she also once mentioned that she went to this guy's house. No? She doesn't know if she was hallucinating or something. No? The guy didn't want to sleep with her himself.
The snakes.
Yeah, but he said it's his brother that will come there. So she was sleeping in another bedroom, and then she felt something's not right. And then she called an Uber almost same time, and she left. And he was willing to give her whatever amount. So there are people that actually benefit from that. That's actually their way of living, whereby they use women for certain things to exchange energies or to, I don't know, like it's actually a very deep subject as well, which we need someone with experience on the podcast to come and share with us what their experience was. I mean, between you and I, our experience is very minimal in this, or basically next to nothing. So I can't really speak much to that, but from people that have witnessed that, I think it is that. There's no smoke without fire, guys. Or the other way around.
Yeah, obviously. For me, I believe it 100%. Not from a personal experience point of view, but from stories and things that we've heard from these public figures and sex workers. I think it really does. And also, like I said, that spiritually I've been doing stuff. So I've been going to church, right? You know, it's Christian. I've been going. Yeah, not that one.
Yeah, that's the city.
Yes, like from time to time.
It's also a Christian church because it's Zion Christian Church.
Yeah, but I wanted to say not the normal one that we're all used to.
Yeah.
So when you're there, like you hear pastors maybe telling someone something, and one of the days, I had the pastor talking to this one lady. So he was saying that to her that you should minimize or stop if you can sleeping with the men that you do meet, because one of them, where he's coming from, this guy is unaware where he's coming from, right? It's more like a generational thing where the man is coming from, the family or whatever, they've done something to the yard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's a thing that happened decades ago. So it's been going on, and so the curse has been there from their parents and now to them, and if it's not taken care of, it also flow onto their kids like
and
that.
The next
like
generation and generation and the next one. Yeah.
Exactly. So he was basically explaining that to say, because I won't tell you the exact name or whatever, but you should be really careful, or at least cleanse now and again. So I think that kind of made me believe that, hey, yeah, this thing is there. And the pastor was telling her that by then she was supposed to be working because she's gone to school, graduated, I think twice, if I'm correct.
She still doesn't have a stable job.
Yeah, like her life is just a mess. So he said one of the reasons why her life is not coming up together is because of these spiritual things, spirits that she's been picking up from guys and things like that. Yeah, at that time I was like, damn.
Coming to that, so do you think those things can work in reverse? How I'm going to tell you is this. What I'm trying to say. If you got your bad luck through spiritual stuff like that, you slept with someone who's got bad luck and then they passed on that bad luck onto you, do you think that can now be removed or reversed through prayer now, which is in the Christianity side? Or if that was brought through the African way, can only be reversed in the African way? I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I kind of do get what you're saying.
Okay, if you're like that and you're carrying that dark cloud over you, can you go to church and then they pray for you and then that thing gets removed, or you need to be cleansed the traditional or the African way for you to remove that bad luck?
I'm not sure exactly, but what I think for such clouds to be cleansed over somebody, whether done through black spirituality or through curses and things like that, I think if it was to be removed by a pastor, it must take like a really good pastor, a pastor that was called to do that, not a pastor that maybe was trained to do that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I always wonder, so anyone can be a pastor if you go to school for it.
Yes, you can even study to be a pastor.
Donation. You went to school for that shit. I don't know.
Yeah, you can actually enroll and study and graduate to be one. So I think that it needs a pastor that was called. You know, there are pastors. We have a pastor back at home. He used to be a police officer, but because he was called, like the universe and the spirituality didn't allow him to be in that field, but only wanted him to be a server, a man of God, someone who prays for people and things like that. So I think people like that are people who are actually called to do that.
Yeah, no?
Yeah.
So, do you believe that there are people that can see through you? Like, as a tzitzik, I know they can do that. They can see through you, they can see what's happening in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Are our Christian pastors, our normal pastors at your local church, are they able to see what's happening in your life? I mean, what does it take for someone to have that kind of gift to see through somebody? If I can see that maybe there's something that's troubling you by looking through your eyes. What does it take to because if you go to like a traditional healer or anyone like a Kokomawen or any just traditional healer, they'll just throw the bones on the floor, and then I don't know what they're doing there, but according to them, their ancestors or their whatever power is showing them what's happening in your life by those bones through the spirits. Or if you go to like so like Mzio or whatever, ne? They can just wear their prapura there, and then they can just close their eyes and they do some diagnostics. Like, where do these people get this power? Are they given by God? Are they like how do you acquire? Why don't everyone have that power? Like, why can't I see through stuff? Coming to that, okay, I need you to answer that, and then I'll come and share something that happens with me mostly.
Okay, with that, right, I think it's a matter of being picked or being called. It's a calling, right? Same as Bo, Gogos, Koteni, and all these other called traditional healers. I think also when it comes to Christianity, there are people who are actually called and given this gift to an ability to see through people and things like that.
Because one thing about me, I don't think I'm normal. I thank you for your answer, by the way. I understand it's a calling, I believe, and callings come in different ways. But one thing about me is that's not normal. Ne? Is that whether something good or bad or something similar, close to that. I think anything that happens mostly in my life, I see it before in my dreams, and then when it finally happens, whether it's a good or a bad thing, I've got this aha moment. You say, oh shit, I saw this in my dream the other day. So it seems like it's more like a warning that comes through. Even like bad things. Now, let's say, what kind of example can I give? Let's say we were supposed to shoot this thing and it was gonna rain. I'll probably have some restless night about the podcast to say that we need to find maybe a different space to shoot, because what if it rains? And then maybe that Sunday it will rain. And then my kind of dream kind of like manifested to say, you see, I showed you a sign that something like this could happen. I always have signs in most of the things that happen. So somehow I feel like I've got a certain power, but maybe I'm just ignorant towards it because I never really entertain those things. I'm not saying I'm going to be a healer or something, but if I take my power seriously, I can actually use it maybe to help other people. And I don't just dream for myself. I also dream on behalf of other people. Like, what can I say? If I can dream of maybe an accident, maybe I'm in an accident, and then maybe the next day I'll hear that maybe someone very close to me wasn't maybe a minor accident, nothing major. But the thing is, if I tell them, it will feel like maybe I don't know if I should share or I shouldn't share then. Like, do you think it's safe to share or not to share?
I guess it depends on who you're sharing it to.
Yeah, because people don't receive things the same way. Some people are very stupid, some are very open-minded.
Yes.
Because I always see these things as warnings, man, because I receive a lot of warnings in my dreams, and when I wake up the next morning, there's something that will align with that dream somehow. Maybe not directly, because I remember back in 2015, there's a grandmother of mine that died from my mother's side. So she was sick, but she was old. Not that she deserved to die or anything. But before she died, a day or two before she died, I saw a funeral, but it was not her in the dream. It was my mom, actually. And then I ignored it a bit, and then 2 days later I heard that she had passed away. I'm like, oh, that was a sign of another funeral coming, but not directly the person I was dreaming about. So do you think this is something I should ignore, or it's just, I don't know, it's a subconscious mind talking to me? Because what I've learned with dreams, the more you think about stuff, it's the more you will dream about them. If now you keep thinking about studies or work or whatever, when you go to sleep, chances are you'll be dreaming about your studies or your exams and stuff like that. Do you think it's something maybe I should take further steps on?
And go and be a twasarist?
No, I'm not twassering. I'm not doing any twassering. And not anytime, unless I get really sick. And now that I have no choice but to twasser.
There are some people, I think you're one of them. There are some people who have ancestors who really care about them, or let me say ancestors or whatever, because things like that, people like that, like their ancestors talk to them through dreams. You know?
Yeah, I think they do it too often with me, eh?
Yeah, I think maybe you're just one of those favorable people with your ancestors.
I get visited a lot. And you know, like for example, my dad passed away like 6 years ago. But you know the amount of conversations that we have with my dad in my dreams.
What?
And my dad has been here at my house. We've done stuff. There was a time in my dream I gave him my car to drive. Nah?
Wow.
And he was really enjoying the car. Hey, you know, stuff like we have a lot of conversations with that guy. As much as he is gone for the past 6 years, but I think he knows everything about my life right now. As much as he has left like 6 years ago, so we have a lot of like proper conversations. Sometimes just the two of us, you know, we'll be maybe taking a drive somewhere, maybe just going to get something. He didn't drink, and people that don't drink, they normally not like some nice foods and stuff like that. So we'll go get maybe some pizza or some wings or whatever. We'll be talking like we'll talk as if like it was here yesterday.
No.
So I don't know
That
if that's a
must be
blessing.
nice.
If that's a blessing.
That must be nice.
Do you see your dad in your dreams ever?
Yes, I do.
What kind of conversations are you having?
Things like the main thing that I've picked up so far. He keeps telling me that no, I'll sort that out. That it'll be fine. You know, like so most of the time, it'll be like as if I want to maybe tell him, complain about something, and then maybe he'll cut me off and tell me no.
It gives you some form of reassurance.
Yeah.
Which is good actually.
Yeah,
I think that reassurance, nah, it keeps you going. Even if you don't know when exactly that will be fixed, but the fact that you get some reassurance from Papa in your dreams, that's, I think, but I remember he's an ancestor now because he's dead.
Exactly. So my question now is for people who would say they are more of religious and they're not spiritual at all, but you find them saying, no, I saw my mom or I saw my grandmother in my dream. They were saying maybe this person's gonna marry me or I'm gonna get a job. And why do they have to believe that if they're not spiritual?
I'm not sure. Another thing is that Jesus is not alive anymore, right?
Exactly.
And generally Christians will discourage you from worshipping the dead. They'll say that you're using them as idols to worship and you shouldn't worship any foreign gods. Nah?
Yet Jesus is an ancestor.
Jesus is dead, but they pray to Jesus and say they basically they bow down to Jesus, and we're not supposed to bow down to our ancestors. You know, like according to Christianity, like for example, going to your father's grave and putting some snuff there and a little bit of alcohol and talking to them, it's actually not permitted because they feel like now you're starting to worship the dead, which is not allowed. Because I feel like they've got double standards. Like something is good when they do it, but when now you do it, it's bad. I struggle to understand that. So maybe we need to invite one of the spiritual people to come and enlighten us here.
Explain it to us better.
Need to get more mics and get more chairs. Chairs are there, but we just need to get more mics and
like
get
that.
someone from who's actually well read or well equipped with this knowledge. Because to be honest, there's still a lot of gray areas, in my opinion, in terms of what's right and what's wrong. You understand? For example, guys at CC, they'll say they don't eat pork, for example.
Yes.
I still need to get a clear indication or explanation why they don't eat pork.
Isn't it from the Bible? There's this other verse where...
But Christians do eat pork. They don't have a problem with pork.
Yes.
What's wrong with pork?
I think it comes from that verse where this person casted a demon from a person to those pigs. So now they have that... they haven't been brainwashed from that. Therefore, pigs are demonized. All of them have demons. You know,
one thing I always say, if your religion or spirituality is going to require you to hate certain people or change your habits somehow, I don't think it's good for you.
Definitely not.
Yeah, if it's going to require you to hate other people or now you need to change your ways of doing things. Let's say I've been eating pork for the past 40 years of my life. I'm not 40, by the way. And then now I become a ZCC member. So all of a sudden I need to stop eating pork because now I'm a ZCC member. Where's the one thing about, the religion stuff and spiritual stuff, you can't prove a lot of things.
And you'll be surprised because even though all of these churches are Christian, there are rules that are not applicable to the other one but are applicable to this one. For example, at a ZCC, right, they'll tell you that maybe they foresee something that, and then that thing requires you to go to the grave and pasha and do all those things, right? At a ZCC, they're able to tell you to do that. That no, you need to go to your father or grandmother's grave and do this. But in a church, that's not ZCC. Like they'll tell you this is forbidden. You're not allowed to do this.
So that's one thing I like about ZCC, is that it's not here.
Yeah.
They are open-minded.
Yes.
Yeah, they are not stereotyped. They are very open-minded. They don't disregard African religion at all. But the other Christian churches, they kind of like disregard that. And one thing I also like about the ZCC church is that you are allowed to take more than one wife. But I don't think the Christian churches allow that as well.
Yeah.
So the fact that they don't discourage polygamy, I think I might enroll soon as a member. And I'm
Like
not,
this polygamy thing works for you, right?
how?
Like the mood changes when you talk about polygamy.
Nah, the sad part is that I don't have enough money to can afford polygamy. But if I had the money,
Is
I
that
think
the
I would
only
do.
hindrance to it?
No, apart from that, I mean, it just requires a lot from you as a man. And once you make it official that now you now have two wives, now you're gonna suffer a bit because everyone wants a piece of you. When you're this side, they want you this side. They even make some unnecessary demands that just to piss you off and stuff like that. So it's a lot more. We're gonna talk about that also one day. But yeah, man, I think we've been having a very interesting conversation and it's just flowing, man. We can actually talk about this for hours and hours.
Yeah, this one is very controversial. We can go like the whole day. It's very
And I mean,
controversial.
the tricky thing about this one is that there's no right or wrong answer. It's all about opinions and who believes
What
in
works
what.
and what works for you.
Yeah, and belief is one thing. You can't really force a belief or impose a belief on somebody. It's like with prayer, like I said. If now I lay my hands on you and pray for you, let's say you're sick, you've got a headache, and then that headache was meant to stop an hour later, and then I pray for you, and then an hour later it stops, you would believe that my
Yeah,
prayer
the
healed
power.
you. You see, so it's all about what you actually believe in, and most have said that whatever they believe in works for them. So if it works for you, I wouldn't discourage you to follow what's working for you. Just keep on following what works for you. But I think what I would encourage is that let's stop talking bad about other people's religions. If you believe in Christianity, no need for you to talk bad about the African religion and the gogos of this world. If they, I always say, not there are people that call traditional healers like Bokoko Mawin like witch doctors, which I don't agree with. Very like traditional healers are witches. I don't believe so, because even a doctor, like a medical doctor, as much as a doctor can heal you when you're sick, but he also knows what to mix to kill somebody.
Definitely.
Yeah, even a traditional healer, they know what to mix that can kill a person and stuff like that. So killing isn't like it's an intention that it's a plan. It's actually a deliberate thing that you do, but that's not what they are deployed to do. I believe traditional healers are doctors. They just do it the traditional way.
Traditional ways.
So I don't. For the record, they are not witches, guys. Stop calling them that. Stop it. But yeah, I don't know.
Adding to that, the witch is actually you who go to and consult of things.
Planning to harm somebody. You
yes.
see? Yeah, they are
Because
not the witch.
also I can still go to the doctor and say, please finish off this person, and they can simply just take the syringe and put whatever and go.
Yeah, they know what to mix, what kind of stuff to
Exactly.
mix, and that will literally kill someone instantly. So yeah, not sure if there's anything you wanna talk about in this episode before we wrap up.
I think I've pretty much talked about everything that I had in mind.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap it up.
By the way, last week I forgot to give a shout out to my boy. His name is Klari Jauke. I was rocking his match last week. He also calls himself Mr. Vintage Enhance Skafelapil. So if you want to hit him up, you can find him on Instagram, Vintage Enhance, and also on TikTok, Vintage Enhance. He's based in Sosha. If you want this match, you can hit him up on TikTok, and then you guys will meet, and then I'll sort you out.
What does he do? T-shirts, caps?
T-shirts, caps, some shorts, what else? A whole lot of other things. Hoodies, sweaters, yeah, a whole lot of things. Hats, yeah, bucket hats and stuff like that. He sells very nice merch. I met him at some market in Pretoria North, and then we exchanged numbers. I also bought some merch on that day. So yeah, I'm gonna buy some more, and then I'll be rocking them on the platform. Yeah, you need to promote the job portal before we go.
Okay, guys. Also, for those who are job hunting or looking for other opportunities, you can always browse www.ultimatejobsa.com. You can also find us on social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, yeah, all of that. Everywhere is just Ultimate Jobs SA.
Anyway, guys, I think yeah, we almost done. Very interesting topic. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too.
So yeah, but for now we're out of here.